Sam here from Sheridan Computers, and OPNsense 25.7.11 has been released. While this looks like a small patch release, it actually introduces a brand new background service, important IP version 6 fixes, and some serious crypto and security updates, plus of course more prep work for the big 26.1 release. So let's break down what's changed and what you should care about.
Sheridan Computers, IT, Communications, Support.
If you've already upgraded and you watched the update closely, you probably saw a new package get installed called HostWatch, along with upgrades to Suricata, Libsodium, and of course the core OPNsense system. HostWatch? That's a new service written in Rust that uses packet capture to listen for ARP traffic for IP version 4 and neighbor discovery for IP version 6. Instead of just reading ARP or neighbor tables, it actually sees these devices as soon as they talk on the network. When it sees this traffic, it records the IP address, the MAC address, the interface, and whether the host is IP version 4 or IP version 6. And it stores this information in a local SQLite database so the data persists across reboots. And OPNsense now uses this information for firewall MAC aliases and captured portal client tracking, and it fixes long-standing issues with devices that frequently change IPs. And IPv6 only clients that don't show up clearly in ARP tables. An important note here is that this is enabled by default, but you can opt out by disabling automatic discovery. There's also a solid batch of IPv6 improvements in this release, and these include better handling of address and prefix lifetimes, fixes to router advertisement behavior, neighbor discovery stability improvements, and several kernel level fixes. And the devs also mentioned that DHCP 6C, which is the DHCP version 6 client used on the WAN side, will receive a larger update in 26.1. So if you have had IPv6 dropouts after reconnects or prefix renewals, then these updates are directly targeting that kind of behavior. Another important upgrade, and I didn't see this mentioned in the release notes anywhere, is Libsodium, which jumped from version 1.0.19 to 1.0.21. Now, when I looked into this, that includes a real security fix for ED 25519 point validation, which prevents invalid cryptographic inputs from being accepted during the authentication process. And there's additional protection against speculative execution side channel attacks. This is making sure plain text can't be accessed before authentication completes. You won't see any of this in the user interface, but this is exactly the kind of update that you want to see on a firewall. The Libsodium changes I do consider fairly important. Suricata was also updated to version 8.03. This includes engine fixes and performance improvements for IDS and IPS users. In addition to that, firewall automation got some quality of life fixes. ICMP types only appear when ICMP is selected, and ICMP version 6 rules now support multi-select options. Unbound DNS got quick actions in reporting, alias reference counters, and user interface layout fixes. OpenVPN receives search in the client export user list and fixes for archive exports. Now these aren't flashy features, but they do improve day-to-day usability and reliability. This release also includes more preparation for a major change upcoming in the 26.1 release, and that is the full move away from ISC-DHCP in the core. So going forward, DHCP server functionality will be handled by Kia DHCP. ISC-DHCP becomes a plugin instead of built-in. Now in 25.7 stable, nothing changes just yet. Your current DHCP setup keeps working as before, but already in the development builds, ISC-DHCP has already moved to a plugin, so if you have complex DHCP configs, I strongly recommend testing the 26.1 release candidates in a lab environment. The first release candidate is expected very soon, and the final release is still planned for January 28th. So is 25.7.11 worth installing? Well, I'd say yes, especially if you use IP version 6, or you rely on Mac-based firewall rules, or you rely on the captive portal. But just remember, take a backup. ZFS users, you can use the snapshot functionality that helps introduce into OPNsense. If you're running virtualized, take a snapshot first. Avoid upgrading during peak hours if you're doing this in production, and don't do it on a Friday afternoon. As always, I'm going to take you through the upgrade process so you can see what's involved, whether a reboot's required, etc, etc. So the first thing that I need to do is go to System and Snapshots. I'm going to take a new snapshot. I'll call this 25.7.10. Save. So if anything does go pear-shaped, we can revert. Right, so we're going to go into Firmware, Updates, Status, and check for updates. This is pretty much just telling you what I've just told you. Go ahead and do update. So as I was saying, you can see Libsodium. HostWatch is a new plugin. We've got some kernel updates and obviously the base system. And then Suricata. So let's go ahead and do the update. So yeah, the firewall will reboot directly after this firmware update. Okay, let's log back in. You can see we have updated, no problem. I have upgraded a couple of systems and I've not had any problems. If you're using production, I'd always give it a couple of days. And if you head over to the OPNsense forums, and then you search for 25.7 and 25.10 series, then you'll be able to see if anybody has been having any issues. And I always suggest you keep an eye on there before doing the complete upgrade. I will be covering the OPNsense 26.1 release as soon as it drops, and I'll especially be looking at DHCP server behavior, IPv6 stability, and upgrade compatibility. If this video helped you, hit like, consider subscribing if you want to see more OPNsense videos, and let me know in the comments. Are you running dual stack IP version 4 and IP version 6? Are you still running IP version 4 only? If you made it this far, thank you for watching. As always, if your business needs OPNsense consulting, head across to SheridanComputers.com. We'll be happy to accommodate you. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.